Hi, welcome to Homeschool Together.
Play my music. Hello and welcome to Homeschool Together, and I apologize for nothing.
Welcome to Brazil. This last 2 weeks we've spent with Build Your Library and Torchlight studying the great country of Brazil, and we want to share with you all the wonderful things that we did and the great books that we read.
Books, movies, recipes, we did it all.
We did.
And in going with the same theme that we've been talking about in the last few videos, we've been trying to focus and narrow what we're focusing on for our young learner.
Right, she's in kindergarten.
So we've been trying to do about 2 big concepts and carry that through the 2-week period, and we found that to be very effective and helpful. So this time we have focused on Carnival with Brazil and the Amazon. So kind of doing the city life, kind of a big celebration that's really popular, famous, also mixed with the kind of the natural beauty of the country. So that's kind of where we went. So but before we begin into that, we have something.
Right.
The South America Resource Guide is finally available.
Finished it. We've been working on it for 5 months.
She has been working on it for 5 months.
It's got books. We have fiction and nonfiction books for every country in South America. And we have videos, documentaries, movies, recipes, games. So there's tons here. With these curriculums, they cover some of the major countries of South America, Brazil, Argentina, Chile. There's Torchlight does Ecuador. We cover all of them. We have Paraguay and Uruguay and Guyana and French Guyana and
all of them.
All of the countries of South America, Bolivia.
Yeah, and so the link to that is down in the show notes below. So definitely take a look at that. Go ahead and get it. I think it's really effective. Our North America guide was really good, and I think you're going to really enjoy the South America guide. So let's get into it. Let's start with our main books.
Yeah. So
The Great Kapok Tree.
Right. This is one of the Build Your Library suggestions. So we really tried to do like a week spent on Carnival and then the second week on Amazon. So we mixed these books up a little bit between the curriculums. So this was a really great book about the Amazon, and you can talk a little bit more about it.
A great story about basically a logger that was sent into the woods, and the tree was marked a kapok tree, and he was in charge of cutting it down. He ended up taking a nap at the base of the tree, and throughout the whole story, all these creatures came crawling down from the tree and were trying to convince him subliminally to not cut down the tree. And then at the very end, he makes, spoilers, he makes the decision not to cut down the tree. So it was a nice lesson of,
it's a story about conservation.
Yeah, conservation and trees and the Amazon, and we were able to I was able to educate her a little bit about some of the issues on logging and some of the issues around the Amazon and the protection of the rainforest. So it was a really good kind of touchstone into that kind of concept.
Yeah, this was a really, really great book.
We really loved it. It was really fun, yeah. Next one is The Sock Thief. So I really liked this
lots
book.
of Brazil soccer themed. The Sock Thief is the main book for Torchlight.
It's a very good book. I read it to my daughter. Basically a great story about a young boy. He's going off to school, and on his way he is stealing socks to create a soccer ball.
Right, which is something that the famous soccer player Pele did when he was a child. And children still to this day do make soccer balls out of socks.
And so on his way home, he basically left fruit as a sorry. I like to say sorry I stole your socks, but the whole town was kind of in on it.
Well, don't give it away.
Well, I know.
Spoiler alert.
Spoilers.
Anyway,
spoiling.
it's very sweet.
Cute. It's very cute.
It's a good way to both introduce some of the hardships of a country where some people are impoverished and this love of soccer. And it's a really good and sweet book. And our daughter really liked it. I think we had to read it 3 times, maybe.
Yes.
She loved it.
It was really good, though. It's worth... It's a few of the books we've had to reread.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you read a book, you're like, okay, I'm done. Okay, one time's good enough, and maybe you'll come back once or twice. But that one was worth coming back multiple times. It was very cute.
Yeah, I think so too.
So along the Tapajos, I think correct is Tapajos. I think.
I mean, we're probably butchering that. We're sorry.
We will do no Portuguese.
We're very sorry. This is one of the other main books from Build Your Library. Build Your Library had 3 main books this week. This one, The Great Kapok Tree, and then the next one we'll cover.
And we talked a little bit, like, we're not recommending anyone to buy any of these books this week, but if you did have to, we think this might be the one to get.
This or The Great Kapok Tree.
Yeah,
we do
one.
own The Great Kapok Tree, and I think it's great because it gives you information about animals in the Amazon, also talks about conservation, also has a story. I think it's great for this age. If that was the one, I would get that one.
Yeah. So
Or
basically, a story of kind of indigenous people living off one of the main tributaries of the Amazon, and the story of how their small town, has to deal with the seasonal flooding that occurs in the Amazon. And the rivers can swell 30, 40 feet in a season. And so their whole town, they have to move their town periodically throughout the year. And it was such a really interesting story. And my daughter was like riveted that they were moving everything, livestock, the whole family, the whole town from one place to the other. So it was a really cool lesson about how dynamic and how crazy the Amazon River can be with respect to the levels and what that kind of impact that can be on a community. And she was very interested in that. I was like, could you imagine if we had to leave half the year and pack it up and our house was underwater the whole time? She was like blown away at that. So it was a really cool lesson of that people live very differently than she does, and kind of opening up her world.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
So
folk stories.
We are struggling with the folk stories, you guys. Okay, so Tales Our Abuelitas Told Us from Build Your Library. It covers.
There's also the 52 weeks of the year, 52
okay,
stories.
We have several folk tales. We have
folk tales.
A World Full of Animal Stories and A Year Full of Stories, which are both folktale based. We've done Coyote Tales for Native American stories. We've done a variety of folk tales based, and this is another one. This is supposed to be used through most of South America for Build Your Library. Obviously, it's not Portuguese. This is just a general
kind of hops around
Hispanic stories, tales.
Yeah, here. Let me.
So
it can be.
We're struggling with it. Frankly, we're struggling. I don't know that we would do this book again. The folktales are really difficult, right? Because they're often very disjointed, strange things happen in them. For our kindergartner, she's often going, "Wait, what? Why did that happen?"
This is a good example. This is a butterfly who's fallen in love with a rat, and it's just a strange story. And then he falls into a pot, and it's just I was reading the story to my daughter, and multiple times I was like losing her, and I read another one of the stories, and another one of the stories, and I don't know if it's working.
Yeah,
I gave it about 3 tries.
We appreciate the fact that they're folktales and they're from the regions we're studying and all that, but
like if
this has been rough.
I'd rather take another along the Tapajos.
Right, for the same amount of reading time, right? We only have so much reading time span with our daughter, our kindergartner.
It's not
this is not what we would choose.
It's not the content. It's not. They're just very strange. They're strange stories, and I just don't think our learner is connecting with them.
Right. Yeah. Our advice to you would be to get this book from the library before you do Brazil, and we're going to be going into Chile and Argentina, and we're still going to be reading this. So get it from the library, peruse some of the stories, and see if this is the right fit for your family. Because maybe it's better off to get some of these other amazing books and just not waste your time with something.
It might be good for a pre-read. So if you get it, check it out from the library, read a couple of the stories, see if it's something your learner kind of likes. Try one of the stories. If it's not, then you can return it. If so, then renew your checkout, and then continue with your weekly learning. So next one, Soccer Star. So this was a really cool story.
Another soccer book.
We had a couple books about Pele and soccer, but I actually like this one the most. It's a great story about a young kid who plays soccer in his community, and he basically taking you through. I think it's in Rio. I think it's Rio. And taking you through his life, and living in poverty but still playing soccer, and then I think it culminates in a soccer match on the sand. I think it was more of a connecting story than some of the historical arcing stories of Pele and his long.
We read a
long
lot
history,
of Pele
yeah.
books, and this was the one that our daughter liked the most and
liked
seemed to
this one
get
better.
the most out of. This one and the Sock Thief were the two that really. The Sock Thief had a little bit of soccer, and it was mostly about him stealing all the socks. This one was more soccer based, and this one made a better impression on our kindergarten.
I think the soccer
than
story,
all the Pele books.
Yeah,
that
I
we
think
read.
the soccer stories that center on the children in the cities and the towns. I think she just connects better with that.
Right. The other Pele books about the history, we did a couple of early readers and a couple of other Pele, King of Soccer, and those books this was of all the soccer books, the Sock Thief and this one, they were the best ones.
And the rainforest grew all around, and the rainforest grew all around.
Okay, so if you know the green grass grew all around, then you are ready to read the rainforest grew all around, which is another one I think that's recommended as an extension, maybe by Build Your Library. It's very cute. It has that whole.
There's the patterning. It's very.
Yes,
it's very 12 days of Christmas type of
while
thing.
you read it.
Yeah.
And it builds right as you're saying, like 12 days of Christmas. What I like though is in the there's a margin.
Yeah, on the margins.
In the margins here, there are actually facts about the rainforest. So it's really cute. Our daughter wanted us to read this a lot.
Yes.
So I would say, as much as it's very cute, and it was really something she really loved. So for kindergarten, I think if you're doing this with a kindergartner, I definitely pick this up. I think I got this one and the Great Kapok Tree. I was able to get them both used for just a few bucks. So really, I would look into this. I think for that age group, it really made her connect. And all these books that are about the rainforest, we can use with other South American countries where the rainforest is a piece of their country, and then we can bring these up again. So I think they've got greater longevity than just Brazil to breed, kind of general rainforest books.
Exactly. No, I totally agree with you. There's a lot of.
She loved it.
A lot of countries along the upper left arc of South America that also have Amazon. So it's a great one that can touch multiple countries. It doesn't just have to be for Brazil.
You could use it in Costa Rica too. So if you wanted to use it early as well and then come back to it, you could do that.
Yeah, it's not specific to Brazil, so you can definitely use it there. Next one, In the Rainforest.
This is really cute. It's an early reader, and what I like about it is we're
starting to do a little bit more.
You can fan away from me this time.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, yes, hold it up straight. So one of the things we checked out a lot of books with rainforest nonfiction rainforest books to learn about it, and they were all just too intense.
I do my best baboon face.
You're so silly. No. They all just were too dry and too detailed for a kindergartner to really understand. So this being an early reader book was kind of perfect for her. Gave just enough information about the animals that she could pick an animal she wanted to do for her animal research project.
Yeah, and a little bit on conservation as well. So.
Right. So I would really recommend, if you have this one or another early reader that talks about the Amazon or the rainforest, I would get it because there's so much information that the other nonfiction books that we got, were often too detailed for our kindergartner, and this worked really well.
And also great if you're early, if your early learner is actually trying to start to read and you're starting to do that, you can have them pick out words and stuff. So it's really nice kind of to pair the two together.
Agreed.
Next one, ready to read, Living in Brazil.
This is another early reader, and this one was so cute. It's more of it's about a little boy, but it's more of a nonfiction-y take on his life, and it just talks about all the aspects of his life and about Brazil, and it talks about all the aspects of his life. It was really good about his family, about his school, about the holidays. It was a really terrific book. If I was going to buy only one book that I wanted to get like the most information out of, not story-wise, but information, this is actually the book I would buy. Because it's for an early reader. What is this, level 2?
Yeah. This
has so much nonfiction information about Brazil. This had more nonfiction information than any of the other books we looked at.
And it goes back to what we've talked about before, that our learner tends to gravitate towards children.
Right.
And learning about what children do in their country. So this kind of, it was a good fit for her. So maybe not for your learner, but for our learner, it was a really good fit.
It was really good. The illustrations are just really cute. And for an early reader, I would probably buy this one. Of all of them, if storybooks, but this you could read it again and again, but this one I think you're going to get the most factual information out of while still being fun and at their level.
Absolutely. So In the Rainforest, this is a book very similar in
read and find out science.
Yes, similar in the structure as the Magic School Bus. So if you know about the Magic School Bus, it's a layered book where you have the central story, and then you have kind of outside information and then additional information. You can kind of see how they do that with the animals, additional dialogue with the characters that is not, it's pertains to the story but doesn't have to be read. I love books like this because when you come back to it, the learner can rediscover something new. You can always read something new. So it's always, there's more layers in there, and I love books that do this, very much like the Magic School Bus. So it was very enjoyable, very straightforward story about the kids going into the rainforest, talking about conservation and finding animals. Nothing special, but the layered aspect of it was super helpful. And again, I don't think this was Brazil specific, so you can absolutely use this for any type of rainforest study.
Yeah. Definitely, very good.
Well, and what did it inspire our intro but Carnival? Now, this book aesthetically looks
a little cheesy,
but it was actually super interesting. It sent us on a huge Carnival kick. And I think, I don't want Olinda, and
in the town. So this is Carnival in a specific small town, not in Rio, which was cool because it gave you perspective that Carnival doesn't just happen in the magical Rio stage, that one long stadium that they go through, but that how they celebrate it in other towns.
And this is very much like it's telling you a narrative, telling you about the town and the history of all the aspects of Carnival with that town. But also you get these great images of people. It's very much like an eyewitness book, but not as polished as an eyewitness book. But we really loved it. It's a little bit of a longer read too, so if you want to read it in pieces, it'd be great. Sent us on a long kick. We'll talk a little bit about that, about Carnival and what we did with that. But
this is a definite library pickup.
Definitely a library pickup. Absolutely put this one into the rotation. All right, so then we had a couple chapter readers. Which one do you want first?
Okay, well, let's talk about this. So this is Race the Wild. This is a scholastic book. It's about kids in the Amazon who are doing kind of an adventure race. If you've seen like Eco Challenge on Amazon, it's something similar. But in this one, they're out to do wildlife photography. This book, I'm going to say, we did not finish this book. We read about half of it. It's a bit too advanced for our kindergartner. Doesn't mean it's too advanced for your kindergartner. I would maybe get a copy. I own this copy, and I'm glad that I do. We actually have several of them. While our daughter's not ready to read them now, she will be ready in a couple of years when we come back around to this. And they're really great. So it's a chapter book story. It's kind of an early chapter book type.
Each chapter is a standalone.
Each chapter is a leg of the race, a section of the race. But at the end of each chapter, they have a great nonfiction section where you learn about an animal. So it was a little bit too much for my daughter right now, but it was a really good book. I was very interested in it. So I think it would be really good if you're doing this study with a child who's, I would say, 6, 7. That's probably the lowest age I would do this book with, but I think you could go all the way up to 10 or 11 with this book, and they could even read it themselves. Really good. I really liked it. It just was a bit too much for my kindergarten.
Yeah, Ariel typically handles the chapter books. I typically handle the kids' books.
That's right.
She's got a bigger brain than I do. Obviously, from the intro, you can tell that. But the Where Is the Amazon? And we have a bunch of these.
Right, the Where Is or Who Was books.
And it's important for them to know you can get these very cheap.
Right.
Yes.
So you can often get these books on Book Outlet, but if you don't want to do that, they're usually on like the buy two get one sales at Target or Amazon. Or I think they're like $4.99. They're not very expensive. They're really great kind of early nonfiction books. I love these books because I can read them from an overview perspective with my daughter now, and she gets some of it. She picks up some flavor, but then we can go back to it. She could use this to write a report later in our homeschool. These Who Was or Where Is or all the, I think they call them Who IQ books. Yeah. Or who HQ? I don't know. Anyway, these books with the big heads.
Who HQ is
you know the ones I'm talking about. These are great. I think they're wonderful nonfiction resources for homeschool. I'm super glad we have it, even if it's a little bit too advanced for kindergarten. All of these books are great. So
absolutely,
highly recommend if you ever see them on sale. Grab them.
We did some cooking.
We did, and from the cooking class.
I'm gonna give it a try.
Global Feast.
I'm gonna roll those R's.
He's gonna fail, you guys.
I know. I'm sorry. Brigaderios.
Who am I to say I don't know if he's right.
We made these.
So they were really good.
They were like little truffles. And
yeah, but softer.
soft.
And then our kids really loved rolling them in all of the toppings.
We did sprinkles. We did cocoa powder.
And we did nuts.
Nuts
chopped
as well.
Peanuts.
Yeah, chopped peanuts. So it was a really nice little treat.
You know,
it was
it
fun.
was easy. They got to do the rolling.
Yeah, and I don't think
themselves.
we've shown this in the last few videos.
Yeah, this is the main book
cooking classroom.
for Build Your Library, and we haven't been doing the Torchlight Cultured Chef because we're not really connecting with the recipes that are in there. So we've been using this one. Our kids really like this book. I definitely buy this book.
Cooked about half a dozen recipes.
Everything that we've made from there so far has been pretty good.
Yeah.
So, and that's unusual for a children's cooking book. So I would say, you can hold it up again. I would say, yeah. So if you haven't heard of this one, Cooking Class Global Feast is a definite pickup because everything so far has been really good.
Absolutely.
So
next thing we did was the Carnival Parade. If you have a chance, head on over to Instagram. It's linked down into the
check our Instagram for beginning of June, depending on when you're watching this, beginning of June 2021. You'll find one of our reels. I was working in the office and all of a sudden they came just like Carnival Parade.
So we did masks. This came off of the Carnival book. So we watched it and then we started watching some videos on Carnival. We actually went to some videos out of Olinda where they had some head races. That was very funny. They have these big paper mache heads and they were doing some races and stuff. It was running the bulls-esque. It was very fun. And then my girls started like wanting to dance. Hey, Daddy, let's listen to samba music. So we did that. All of a sudden we got the masks on. We started dancing around. We started doing a little, carnival line around the house.
Yeah, it was really fun.
My daughter was pulling the other one in the wagon, and it was a very, very,
it was very cute. And in
cute.
Olinda, they do the dance that they do is with a bunch of umbrellas.
The umbrellas, yeah.
Hence the umbrella in the.
I do
intro.
not have I'm not as limber. I'm not as fit. And I do not have the coordination to do that.
Oh my gosh! If you watch some of these videos of these ladies that dance with these umbrellas, and they have these just elaborate costumes and things, and anyways, they did their own Carnival Parade. We highly recommend you dress up however you want to dress. Our daughter was in like a princess dress, and she had a mask and a wand, and she had wings and all kinds of things.
Really get into it.
Dress up and go around your house. Kids had a blast with it. I think of all the things that we did over these 2 weeks, our daughter will remember that experience the most, and it took no special prep. We just went to the dress up drawer and got a bunch of stuff, and then they did. I was working. All of a sudden, they just went by the door. So.
You didn't even have to pay for tickets. It was great.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a surprise. Yeah. So that was really fun.
Next thing, we did a lot of videos, but one thing we want to mention is a little bit of parental guidance on the Carnival videos.
While they were amazing.
There can tend to be less clothes on the ladies.
Right. There was a couple of pasty situations. So,
is that the technical term?
Yeah, I think so. Anyways, so, preview the Carnival videos. Some of them are very long, they're like 98% fine, and then there's a 2% issue.
So do be aware of that.
Yeah, just we wanted to let you know they're amazing videos.
But to be honest, they're doing it in 95-degree heat. I understand. I wouldn't be wearing very much either.
I mean, I think these parades are amazing. I mean, Macy's Thanksgiving people should be watching because these parades, the floats and the engineering that went into this, and they're all dancing nonstop. It's amazing. Oh. Just make sure that you preview the videos depending on the ages and sensitivities of your learners. But we had tons of really good videos. On Rio, on the Amazon. These are all in our resource guide too. So, that's one of the really great things. We've got tons and tons of videos.
So videos, obviously, we went into an animal study and we did anteaters basically last week or so. So that came from one of the rainforest books that we were reading. I was like, hey, pick an animal. She wanted to do the anteaters. I think they're more in the kind of the drier areas. So it was kind of interesting for her to learn that Brazil's not one giant rainforest. They do have drier sections. They have I think it's the Pantanal, which is the giant swampy area. So there's a lot of different areas, dry. There's some dunes. So she got to see the whole gambit of geography. And so we went into the anteaters. It was great. We watched a bunch of fun National Geographic anteater videos. It was very enjoyable. She liked it. We had a good time. So next thing we did is movies.
Right. It was really great.
And what do you choose but Rio and Rio 2, right?
It was really the perfect choice. So we did the 1 week on Carnival, and then we finished it by watching the movie Rio, which is really great. I mean, it's, aside from it being, anthropomorphized animals and everything, it gives you a great flavor of the city. There's a whole section on Carnival. They go through the favelas. I hope I'm saying that right.
Yeah, favelas,
there's kind of an American who's coming into Brazil, so things are culturally different, and so it was good to have that perspective.
Conservation, animal conservation,
well,
all those aspects are in there too.
Right, in the first one, and it was great, and it ends with this huge carnival thing. It was awesome. And then the second one, Rio 2, starts in Rio, and they fly to the Amazon, and they go through all these major landmarks that we had read about.
That's cool.
So that was really
great
cool.
For your learner to go, I watched videos on that.
Right, kind of see the geography pop up. And then the rest of it was all in the Amazon, and it was all about conservation and the rainforest and learning about different Amazon creatures and things. And again, it's anthropomorphized animals that sing, so it's only so. But for a kindergartner, these were perfect. These two movies, I could not have asked for better movies to show her for the age of our learners, to highlight the two areas of focus that we had. Both of these movies were super fun. We enjoyed them both, and our learner, most of all, she could not wait to watch the second one. She bothered us the entire week. Can we watch it? Can we watch it? Can we watch it? She wanted to watch it so badly. So I think that there could be a better choice. I don't know that they're currently streaming.
I don't know if they're streaming. Were they DreamWorks, I think?
I think they might be.
They're not Disney or anything.
We were able to find Rio and Rio 2 as a combo DVD, and it was very affordable. So we just purchased it because they're just such cute movies. And it was also fun that they referenced in Rio 2 that they were blue Spix macaws, or
Specs macaws.
Specs macaws. Anyway,
but it was in the Where
is the Amazon book that we had read about this explorer, and he had brought back specimens, and there was even a bird named for him. And then they said it in the movie, and our daughter was like, "Wait a minute, Mommy, that was from the book." So it's really fun to tie books and movies together. So overall, this was a super fun 2 weeks.
It was a good trip.
I definitely would not skip doing Brazil. It was awesome. And a great start to South America. I think we got South America off to a bang.
Exactly. So remember, we have our new South America guide. It's in the show notes below.
Definitely check it out.
Where are we going next? Argentina and Chile?
We are going to Argentina and Chile, yeah.
All right. We'll see you then. A couple weeks.